open. So, all right. So, um, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Debate the News. This is the last and final bonus episode of the day. We're speaking about Elon and Trump, as well as this big fight that they're having. And one of the things I want to bring up is the fight, the physical fight that Scott Bessent and Scott Bessent and Elon purportedly had. That led to, I guess, Elon pretty much leaving. It was reported that Trump sided with Scott Bessent when it took place, and basically, um, Elon now has to deal with that as well because Elon doesn't like Scott Bessent for whatever reason. I guess there's some history there. So if you guys want to speak to that, that'd be great to have that conversation. But yeah, Elon and Scott Bessent obviously are not on the same page for whatever reason. So and it was a physical confrontation, a shoving match that actually led to Scott Bessent being shoved by Elon. And so Donald Trump had to mediate that. So there's a lot going on, and it started when Scott Bessent called Elon out for not delivering what he promised with Doge. All right, and then it was reported that Donald Trump asked, was it bullshit all along about Doge? Okay. So Elon was falling out of favor there. Elon was definitely falling out of favor there. So I want to make sure you guys understand that. So with that being said, I think there's, I don't know if it's Fumi or whoever that was jumping in. Go ahead, jump in, and you can ask your question. And if you want to tackle that, you can tackle that as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, my understanding, and anyone in the room can correct me if I'm wrong. I prefer to learn than to speak too much. But I thought that the rift was really because his position, being Besant, was that the tariff revenue would essentially offset, any amount essentially from the large bill or the large spending bill. That's what I thought that the rift was, and Musk didn't really appreciate that. So maybe there's some additional context that I might be missing. Anyone, please feel free to educate me on that. But I was gonna say, just to circle back a little bit, I think it's Duran, I'm not sure. um, I was going to ask, to the comment that you made, do you believe that all that's simply happening is Trump is just like recalibrating? So essentially, he's not trying to win over like moderates or elites anymore, like Trump, like those like elite Silicon Valley guys. And his focus now is to sort of like reshift or recalibrate back to like his loyal MAGA core, which are, they prefer fossil fuels to EV, right? Electric vehicles are more connected to woke policies, the Democratic Party. So yeah, that was my question. Just is he simply just recalibrating?
Yes, I can answer that fast, so we can get back to the Scott Besson and the Elon thing. So I just think he's hedging, just like a hedge fund manager. He's suggesting that, hey, I over-index, to Jonathan's earlier point, on Elon Musk, and I'm showing America that that's not what I'm interested in. So I like everyone's ideas. I don't know if I'm going. You know how he talks. Maybe we like the guy, maybe we don't. I don't know. I leave it up for you guys to decide. But he used to say great things and tremendous things about me, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see how it works. It's always a hedge when he talks. It's yeah, it's literally always a hedge. So I think he's just hedging at this point to show America symbolically. It's just it's symbolism that, hey, I'm not all for anyone. I'm for what needs to happen at that very moment. And it's probably inconsistent with some private things he may or may not have promised Elon directly. I literally don't think he cares about his relationship with Elon in the sense of your question. Psychologically, as just as a human at the basic human level, I think he cares about the guy when all of the TVs are off. But at the political level, I'm going to go back to what Jonathan said earlier. I think Elon is over his head. He's in over his head. These are different type of people. And Anthony actually said this earlier. You don't, Mark Cuban told them when he fought with the SEC, you never fight your government. I don't care how rich you think you are. Never fight your government. They will take you down. Last point from just think about it. Even Elon's equity is connected to a governmental body, the SEC. Securities and Exchange Commission. So I'm not suggesting they can just confiscate his equity, but they can sure make it difficult for him. So I think that's what's actually happening. Elon seeing that his money had a cap, because his money doesn't necessarily constitute ultimate power in this country. And Trump is just making sure he stay balanced and smooth and not over index over anyone. I think he has some smart advisors around him now saying like, yo, you went too crazy with Elon. You got to back off a bit. And he listened. I'm going on mute.
I'm going to say people always got to remember when it comes to Elon Musk, before any of all this, he's been subsidized from Tesla to SpaceX. For Tesla, I don't think it's appropriate. It's just an electric car. For space stuff, I get it. Maybe it should be. But he already had his first round in the Trump administration on turn one, 2016, and he got kicked out of there. So now he got brought around here now, and he was pretty much probably used at this point for, people say, oh, Doge didn't save that much money, but it stirred up a big controversy because you had people arguing about a small amount of money as a percentage of total spending, where they're like, no, 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 we should spend it on that. It was the most ludicrous shit it was spent on. So you just identify people who think that that's normal or okay for that shit, for that money to be spent on the dumbest shit in the world, you know. And I'll be honest, long term, realistically, he has no place there. He got kicked out the first time. He's subsidized, maybe in competition for automotive and EV. Arguably, you're like, wait, we should have an American industry for that. For space stuff, I get it, but the guy's getting a lot for essentially nothing at all of our expenses, and he's not particularly special, you know.
Hey, Jonathan, is it being reported with high conviction that Scott Besson blacked Elon's eye?
No, I no. I think little X did that. That's what we're.
Everybody want to blame it on the kids.
Well, for me, it's quite simple. There's more MAGA Americans than there's Tesla drivers. And there's a lot of people that believe that QAnon, and they like Trump's.
Yeah, I want to say too. I think this is a pretty good move on his behalf. I don't know. It kind of like, because there was a point where people were like, Musk bought Trump and, all this type of stuff. And I think, with him, making this plan, being like, oh, we can work and we can do business. But if this is not working out, you're going to have to go. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what space program you got. I don't care about, it's just kind of like, you came in here to do a job. Is it working? Is it not? Looking at the statistics, looking at the results, all right, cool. Your time is up. It's time for you to move on. And it's not, so I think this is, him like putting his foot down as well. Trump, and just being like, I like you, buddy, but your time is up. You did what you needed to do, and I understand you're gonna be angry and you're gonna be upset, but I got a country to run, and we got to keep things moving. So that's just really like how I'm seeing it. I think Musk is just upset right now. He's used to getting his way. He's not getting his way. He met his match with somebody who's kind of similar in a way. And so now he's just upset and throwing a fit. And I hope tomorrow, if they do have that conversation, they patch things up, and we can move forward, because I think with his companies, I think it's just important for for them to work together overall, as opposed to them working apart. Um, just for the sake of the country, and if it doesn't happen, I think we'll be okay. I think, 'cause there's still NASA. Even his companies are subsidized by the military industrial complex. There are a lot of other technocrats out there, and so I think this is just Trump saying, I like you, buddy, but there's more important things to take care of, and I think the American people seeing that, those who may not necessarily be so wealthy, or they might think that he was bought by Musk. They might see this as a big W, and just kind of be a bit content with what they're seeing. You know, it's kind of like showing that he can't really be bought. You know, so that's just my little take on it as well.
And also, if Elon Musk is like in the Oval Office fighting and shoving people, it makes sense that Trump would want him out of his administration.
Yeah,
Like, he
that's
sounds
crazy.
very volatile.
Swinging on somebody in the shoving somebody in the White House is crazy. Super crazy work.
All right, guys. Yeah. So, guys, this once again, it, it seemed like Elon made some enemies within the cabinet. A lot of people in the cabinet seem to not like Elon. Now, Elon had some influence on some of the members in the cabinet, but there are members of the cabinet that did not like his presence. Scott Bessent called him out a couple of times. And, I remember when Trump had his first cabinet meeting, Elon spoke longer than any appointed cabinet member there. I don't know if you guys recall that. Um, what happens to Doge? Doge was this thing where they would show up and they would do all this stuff. They were cutting these jobs. They're getting rid of U.S. aid. They're trying to shut down this department, shut down that department. Elon found all of this. I guess, corruption and fraud and Social Security, but not one person was prosecuted for that. All these checks are supposed to be going out to people over 100 years old. Found out that one check went out to anyone over 100 years old. All this stuff that was going on and that was happening that never happened. Okay. Uh, all that happened, and all the federal workers were scared to lose their job. They were being asked to uh, I guess, write what they did, because they want to justify their job. All of that was going on under Doge, under Elon. And now all that has quieted down. In less than 4 months, all that has quieted down. I'm quite certain they're still going to try to cut the workforce, uh, but they're probably going to do it in a more structured way. But everything that happened in the very beginning, Doge right now it's going to be shuttered anyway, and I think that there's no one right now really implementing all the things that Musk had going on in the beginning. So Doge looked like it was unmitigated failure. It's just like it's just didn't work out. It seemed like it was, I don't want to use the word fraud, but it just wasn't what American was told, just wasn't what was advertised. And a lot of MAGA people were out there speaking for it. And they said the final numbers, when it comes out, when the final numbers come out, they're going to say most likely those wind up costing us money instead of saving us money. That is, I think, Elon's Musk legacy, going to be Elon Musk legacy with this administration. And so Trump said he asked, that he pretty much asked Elon to go. I don't doubt that, even though his contract was up. They could have said Elon works one day a week, whatever. They could have really extended it out as long as they wanted to. They just didn't. So, what are you guys' thoughts about
Chime
Doge?
in. I'll chime
Right.
in as one of the MAGA supporters. I am on the fence. I'll go back to my independent roots at this point. I was Team Dodge with, well, Team MAGA with Dodge. And like you said, Trump gave us all these promises about all these things that they were going to cut funding and make America great again. We all bought into that. And then you bring in this guy who's supposed to be brilliant and find all the wasteful spending. And for whatever reason, you just toss him out in the street. Are you going to do your supporters that way? You know, you have to question how he's moving right now. So I am interested in this interview that's coming up tomorrow, but I'm a bit nervous, because that guy did go in with good intentions, I suppose. I do understand that he gets some governmental contracts. It has been advertised to us that we are going to move into the away from fossil fuel and into the electric car space. That's not new news. And a lot of companies survive off government contracts. So that's not even something that I can be sold very easily. That's the reason why I'm just a bit nervous, especially with Elon saying, dropping all these nuggets and gems on American people today. I, I, I it's kind of hard to say MAGA out loud right now. So I'm Team Doge until MAGA can sell me again. I'm not completely Dems, but I will say the Dems has an opportunity here if they seize it.
So I think right now, I'm be honest with you guys. As a Dem, I'm enjoying this. Uh, I'm not gonna say here lie. I'm enjoying this. Let them fight. I let them fight. I'm enjoying it. I let hell. Elon go nuclear. Trump go nuclear. All right, MAGA. Yo, this is something that I mean, guys. The things that Elon is saying, we were saying it in this room. We were seeing it in this room. We were seeing it. That's exactly what we were doing. And now all of a sudden, Elon is saying it. Okay, Elon is coming in and saying a lot of things we're saying. So I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying it. And I think that you know, I think Donald Trump made a mockery, a joke out of a lot of stuff with this country, and Elon did too. And now they're both being called on their bullshit by one another, each other. Okay, and they're saying a lot of things that a lot of people on the left were saying. They're verifying it. So, no, I don't want this to end. I want to hear more. And he already went to the pedophile thing. So if they don't stop this, he can say stuff that I think could actually really change a lot of things. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this: had this happened on any other administration, it would be mind blowing. Right now, we're like, oh, okay, where's this gonna go? We would be in shock had this happened under any administration. Not this administration. Uh, this is part of flooding the zone, right? That's what this is. This is like they said, a strategy to flood the zone. This appears to be part of flooding the zone. With that, I land.
But
Yeah.
Jonathan,
Go ahead.
question. So, do you think this is some sort of a distraction than actually what something else is happening behind? Because politicians are very good at actually making something else up so that the media and the people could be talking about, while in the back something else is happening where they don't want the public to be focusing on.
No, I don't think this is a distraction. I think this is real. I think Elon was a little frustrated, and he railed against the bill just to test the waters. Mike Johnson came out and a couple of things that said that either pissed him off or something. He heard some, and then he pushed it a little further, and then he saw. Then that ketamine, yeah, that ketamine started talking. So
I just caught that.
yeah, that ketamine
Yeah.
started talking.
Is
It is
that a
over.
rumor or confirmed?
So that's what I think happened.
And even hokey, even if it's let's say it's fake, quote unquote, it has real implications. Because even if people say, oh, there's a conspiracy behind this, that's conversations for people that come to debate the news, us people that sit around and read all day and like discussing high level discussions. When things, even if they are fake, that's why I always tell people, even if it is fake, it's not fake to the average person that's living every day walking down the street. And if it is a conspiracy and it's fake, they want people to believe it's real. So it's more so for me about the real implications that it has. It doesn't matter if us people that sit around and like to debate this type of stuff all day, we're 15 steps away from being politicians, if you will. We care about this stuff from the academic level. We may know it's a conspiracy. What does that have to do with the people that's attempting to determine the price of eggs? I'm not challenging you, Hokie. I'm just saying let's assume it's fake. It's not fake to the everyday person, and that's the issue. I'm going on mute.
You know, Fumi, are you there? Fumi, you said something in the chat. The last thing you said in the chat. Can you repeat that? Because yeah, I sort of agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I said it's a great day to be a Democrat or, if you're an independent. Today was amazing. I was laughing like Kamala. I think we called it. You have two very egotistical
Yeah, but the
narcissists
last thing you said in the chat. What was the last thing
working
you?
together. So, wait, what was the last thing I said?
Once it got to,
Oh, yeah. Once it got to Epstein, yeah. Okay, I see it. Yeah, once it got to Epstein, it became real. So I actually was thinking like Grant, what he said a little bit earlier, that it was fake and it was just a way for Elon to kind of pivot back to like be a Democrat. But once you start talking about something as real
Pedophilia.
as Jeffrey Epstein and knowing the allegations against him, and he even posted a video. He posted a video from years ago where Trump and Epstein are together. How do you walk that back? Like, there is no way, especially with someone like Trump that has been pissed at people that have done way less than that. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah,
I
but
think
the
it's
Epstein thing, if you're going to go into the Epstein thing, you're also going to involve people who are on the Democratic Party. Like, like, I don't know if this is his attempt to go back and try to become a Democrat. I think he's just kind of like, like screw the government and like screw both of them. Like, we need like, I think his headspace is just like, we need to get rid of this deficit. Otherwise, we're all like screwed. And, like none of you guys get it. So I'm gonna have to expose everybody, and, this just, again, this just seems like a kid lashing out. And somebody earlier was saying that, they didn't really like how Trump, like dumped him out of the cabinet. Like his contract was up, and if anything, to side with Doge over like, the administration, it wouldn't really make any sense because this is the same guy who's like, we need to cut everything, all of your Medicare, all of your stuff. Meanwhile, his companies are getting funded, and he's just like, we need to cut all these things so that way, like we can save some money, So I really think, like this makes a lot more sense. Where it's just like if I'm the president and I'm seeing this guy's lashing out at people in the cabinet. He's high off ketamine, like Jonathan just said. His kid is punching him in the face. He's having all these issues, and his Doge thing isn't really working. Yeah, I like the guy, but bro, you need to go get yourself together. Like come back. When you're a bit more relaxed. Like this is really what it seems like to me at this point. And now he's just throwing a tantrum and going on the internet and just being like, you did this and you did that and you did all that, but his actions are basically going to expose everybody on that list, and that's everybody. There's a lot of people within the government on that list, including also celebrities as well. So let's not get it misconstrued. So they really need to have a conversation because yeah, this can get
Can I just can
yeah.
I just say one more thing? I think that Elon Musk is a clown for what he did today, to be honest. I could care less about either of them. But he's felt this way about Trump when it comes to this Epstein thing for a long time, right? But he still chose to work with him. He still chose to say that he looked at him as what, a father figure. But the moment that Trump does something that you don't like, mind you, Trump never went personal with Elon Musk, and he could have with his like 15 baby mamas, right? This is where Elon Musk decides to take it. So I do think he's a clown for that. I think that he totally could have, kept it, professional, hit him with, maybe, political talking points. But to take it this personal, this low, I do think that Elon Musk is a clown for that.
but what if
Your
he
friend.
just go ahead?
No, no.
No,
Go ahead, sister. You got it.
no, I was just gonna say, what if he's just passionate? What if he's just passionate about the American people? There was talk about he was gonna save so much money that he was gonna put money, all this wasteful government spending back into the pockets of the Americans. What if he's just frustrated? He doesn't subscribe to the fear that normal Americans have. I hear you guys saying, "Oh, you can't do this to Trump. You should know better." He doesn't. He doesn't live like that. He has. He wasn't raised like that. You know. Of course, he probably had some uh different perspective of how he sees America, and that's showing in his actions. Like, I knew you guys were crooks, or I knew you guys. I couldn't trust you guys. You know. I mean, I respect it as a citizen. I respect it because we rarely get this much insight, about what's going on. So now we have to go back to what's in this bill that triggered him to get to this point. That's what I'm curious about.
If I ask you for money to help me with my rent, and I go to you in confidence and I say, Fumi, you're my best friend. I'm kind of struggling. I need some help. And the moment I make her upset, especially if it's not anything that egregious, she come out and just, oh yeah, that's why I had to help you with your rent. That's kind of weird. We can keep. I know it's hard for us to simplify this because Elon's a billionaire. We're talking about the president, but they're humans just like us. You don't out your friend after they ask you for that type of help. Like that was strange for Elon to do that. Again, even if the only thing that don't make it strange if they literally had to have said, "Hey, let's out each other. Let's make this whole plan." And I'm with Jonathan on that. I don't think that I don't even think Trump we even go to that stage. Like he's an older guy. He's That's just something Trump probably saw was like, "Oh, look, this kid is crying out." How do you come out and then say, "Okay, let's say Elon did get upset and he was frustrated. You had to go to that level and connect him to Epstein?" Like that's kind of
Well, I agree. Hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm
is a
saying?
bad.
He's hurt. He's lost
What I'm
billions of
saying,
dollars.
Donna, is
Can you hear me? I'm sorry. It's Donna. Were
no,
you
no, I
asking?
got,
Okay, yeah. So
no,
hurt
got a
people.
call.
Since
I
he's
had got a
been
call.
there, since he's been there to help Trump, all of a sudden the stock market goes crazy and he loses billions, almost half of his wealth, his net worth. Weird. Why is that happening now? And then I'm sitting here hours and days to do this thing from wholeheartedly from the heart for not just me, the American people. And then all the money I say, you take it and put it in a building and cash it back out. I
No,
mean,
what I'm saying,
I'm
Donna,
not
is
saying it's okay, but I understand what place it's coming from.
no, I get it. I had got a call. That's why I had stopped. But no, what I'm saying is you don't. It's just it's the nature for which what he did it as well. He could have said Trump is a terrible business guy. Look how many times he had to go file for bankruptcy, and I'm a better business person. He should have kept me around, or he could have literally taken another position. And I know I say this biasly because I don't control Elon's emotions, but the fact that he outed him in a way where he connected him to Epstein is kind of strange. And to Jonathan's point, I don't see them coming back from that one. Like you can never trust this guy again. Like how can you do something like that? Even when he said, "I'm the reason you got in office," Trump can wave that off. Like, okay, that's a fact. Thank you. Let's move on. But when you see you can't hurt Trump with the first few set of disses, and then you say, "Okay, I got to go for the juggler now because Trump's not affected by this." Trump is connected to Epstein. He's in the Epstein files. And what does that even mean? Because Trump has already communicated that he went to the island a few times. He liked the guy, but he didn't know that the guy was doing all of this stuff. But to even leave it that vague, guess what, everyone? Trump's in the Epstein files. That didn't tell us anything. In what way? Are we allowed to inquire? Like, what does that even mean that say he's in the Epstein files? But he
Yeah,
knew what he
Jordan,
was
but
in.
that's just to stir the
Yeah,
public, though. That's what it
exactly. That's what
is.
I'm saying. So the fact that he would go to those lengths, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about a relationship like that. I'm going on mute.
I'm coming
Yeah,
off mute.
I,
So I'll let you go just a second. I just want to interject this last point. If you were working on your job 20 years, you've given your all, you've relocated, you put your time and energy, and they just fire you for no apparent reason, and you're at a loss. You're not going to go seek out legal ramifications, or you're not going to tell other people about your experience. Like, it's just done on a higher level because we're talking about the American government. It's still a dispute. Is it still a discord? He's just expressing himself, and the only way he could do that people would hear his side of the story, is on his platform. So I mean, yeah, someone mentioned
Yeah, but the only thing is he
in
was
the
not
chat.
fired. That's all
I'm
it
landing.
is.
I'm landing. Yeah, he got fired. He got embarrassed. He's
No,
a billionaire. He got belittled,
No,
and
no,
he
and then
stop
didn't
with
he's
get
that.
fired. He didn't get fired.
well, he ended his contract, whatever the case. He had more time, if my understanding. So laid off, whatever you want to call it. But I'm the reason why you're in this position. I overlooked the Epstein thing, overlooked a lot of stuff. I had to choose somebody. I couldn't go with the Dems, so I went with you. And I put money and time and energy and effort into that. I put my business and my wealth to the side to focus on your job to make this place, America, great again. You know, what you sold me on. And then here we are, all this money that I saved, you took it and repackaged it and handed it out to someone else. I understand where this guy is coming from.
You
I'm
understand?
gonna
I mean,
stay on your
You
I'm gonna stay on
justify
your
that
good side.
childish
I'm gonna stay on your good
behavior?
side, Donna, and not give you any secrets. Yeah,
You
I'm going
justify
on
this
mute.
childish behavior? Like you understand? Like that's really wild.
I mean, what is it not to understand?
I
Like, you're
mean,
saying it because it's not you, but if you're in his
it's
position,
childish.
okay, so he acted out of emotions, but he's hurt. He's lost half
Lord
of
have
his
mercy.
wealth. His name has been dragged through the media, aligning himself with Trump and other people, other official Democrats and people that were affected by these cuts. And he's put his name and his reputation on the line. His cars and his businesses has been harmed. You know, he's done, and I paid for you to get in this seat. You're not telling me that it's not human to have a reaction. And this is just the way he decided. He was going to go to the media and shout from the loudest microphone. He used Twitter.
yeah, especially when the left vandalized his Tesla cars and Tesla dealerships. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, a reaction would have been to speak on everything you just said. But Epstein, come on.
Bruh, if I
You're
invest
That,
angry.
that,
three
You
hundred
say a lot of
million,
stuff.
if I invest $300 million into somebody, it ain't money. That's money you never seen in your life. If I invest $300 million and you don't do what I tell you, you know the deal we agreed on, and I invest all this money, you can't tell me how to react, nigga.
$300
Oh
is
no, we
literally
don't use
pennies
that
to Elon.
word.
Like, come on, bro.
I mean, he invested 300 million into him, so he did that for a reason. You gotta do what you say you're gonna do. If I invest all this money,
so what part of the deal did Trump step away from? Because from my understanding, he gave him Doge. He let him be in charge of Doge, even to the name. Because if you guys remember the Doge coin, the whole play on that. And you mean to tell me at the end, because we even Elon communicated to himself that it was a temporary position. So at the very end, how are we measuring this arbitrarily? Are we saying, yeah, it has to be 100% of what I said? Because it's not 0% that Trump didn't capitulate to some of Elon's ideologies. So I don't understand where we draw the line of determining if Elon was represented appropriately in the friendship, because he had already done enough for Elon. And where's Elon going to measure that? Is he going to say, okay, that's cool, but I still don't think it's worth me not actually talking about your name mixed with Epstein? And to the point that Donald was making, as far as his equity being affected, Elon didn't lose half of his net worth. That's not true. Today he dropped about $25 billion off of his 400 billion, but he didn't lose half of his net worth. That would have been a debacle. That means that his net worth is tied into Tesla stock in addition to his equity in SpaceX, but majority of Tesla. That means that Tesla had to drop precipitously for Elon to lose a lot of his net worth. So that didn't happen. And that's not going to happen. But this whole notion that because he gave him 300 million and got him in office, that constitute him mixing him with a pedophile, ladies and gentlemen, I literally don't know how to respond to that. I'm going on mute.
Why do you think the
Okay.
files
Yeah,
haven't
I
been
can't believe
released?
y'all are trying to justify that. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy, AR.
I don't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm,
neither
I'm
one of
still
them.
trying to follow Durant. Are you not aware when the stock market went down and he lost a lot of money?
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
it wasn't
talking about
half though.
Typically, the
currently.
last 2 days is
Yeah,
what
it
Yeah,
wasn't
not in
half
the
though.
last few days, but it did happen.
No,
And
no,
then
but it
no,
I
wasn't
but in
half.
the
posted.
last few days it did as well.
but you
Okay,
know,
yeah.
Elon made Trump look like more of an idiot than he was because all his cuts amounted to nothing. Like, if they ended his contract, it's not like it wasn't warranted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you can't be so stuck on yourself that you can't see that your firing was justified.
He was never fired.
Well,
You guys,
To go back at it like a kid
AR, he was never
and
fired.
start pointing fingers and, oh, you did this, you did this, and I seen you with Epstein. It's really sad that we're looking at these. politicians and adult men, and we're justifying the most childish behavior you have ever seen. It's
Just as a
crazy.
point of clarification, he was never fired. He was never appointed to that position by Congress. So he was not
Correct.
allowed to hold it for 120 or 150 days, whatever. He left. There was no firing. It just didn't go well as he left. Even though they had that big celebration where everything was fine, Trump even came out today and said, he doesn't understand where it's coming from. He thought they left on good terms. No, just like every other person has left Trump's White House, whether it's now or the last term, they come out with the stories and the truth. And now we've got two children fighting in the sandbox that is taking away from all the other stuff that's going on in the world. And quite frankly, today it has been very amusing considering some of the other things that have happened.
But AR, think about it. Like ending the EV mandates and taking the EV credits away is definitely going to hurt Tesla, right? I mean, looking at that lens, I think there's a reason why he had to react in a way. I mean, probably that was up for negotiation, and that probably didn't go through well in his
No,
favor.
no, I have no. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem with him reacting. I have no problem with saying that the bill is horrible. I have a problem with with how far he's going with it, like a child would.
Oh, I want to
Like
respond to that.
all of a sudden now, oh yeah, he. By the way, he's a pedophile. But you've been working with him side by side.
Well, that's been a lot of the criticism
You
is
left
the
you
fact
had
that
your
he let
kid
his
next to
kid.
him in the
Yeah,
Oval Office. If he's a
yeah.
pedophile, why'd you have your kid next to him?
Not only that, why did he allow his kid on the plane with him alone without his father there? Or one of the 17, 18, 19 baby mamas? No, you're right. But this is what happens. This is how they react. Got two powerful egos fighting each other, and this is the way it's going to be. It's embarrassing, but it's true. I mean, did you really expect anything less? Like, honestly, ER? AR, I mean, I'm sorry, AR, did you? Hello?
I just wanted
From
to
you
chime in.
guys? Yeah, from you guys? Because I'm
No, not
talking
from
about your
me.
reaction.
Not from
I'm
me.
not talking about, again, like Elon being upset, Elon saying that the bill is horrible. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with, once again, I'm not even going to say it no more. And
Yeah,
how
you were
everybody
saying the
on
P word. I
and
get it.
people on here were just like, yeah, I totally understand his anger and him going there. Like, what?
Well, let me rephrase it because Duran had a similar question. Like I stated, you put money towards this guy campaign. You bought into what you believe that he said he wanted to do for the American people, and you've taken losses. Okay, let's say you write those losses off. To put a nail in the coffin, you are now cutting my contracts. I'm leaving here less than what I've invested time, energy, and money. Are you serious? That was low. Why are you cutting my contracts? I've had these contracts for years. What was that about? That's personal. Again, I can't say you can't tell people how to react when you punch them in the face.
Yeah, but haven't you heard that expression? What is it? When you lay down with dogs, you get fleas? I may be saying it wrong, but what did he expect? What did either of them expect? This should not be surprising to anybody.
She right. Trump is not loyal.
No, I am a lawyer.
No, I said
They're
Trump is
not
not
surprising
loyal.
at all.
Oh,
It's just a
loyal.
So
matter of
Sorry, I thought you were criticizing me. I'm just
Oh no,
saying,
I wasn't saying
look,
that.
you, thanks. No, you got two. Sorry, Nisi, you go
no.
ahead.
I totally agree with what you were saying. We all knew it was just a matter of when and how would it go.
I think also
I just feel like picking a
as
side
far
between the
as
two of
they
these
all,
guys is like it's like trying to pick a side between Dumb and Dumber.
that's exactly what it is.
That's
You
just,
lay down with dogs, you get fleas. I mean, look, this whole EV thing, you're all forgetting the US Supreme Court already ruled on it that California couldn't implement the no gasoline car thing that they passed a couple years ago. The Supreme Court came out with this 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So, like, there's so many things that have just swooshed over everybody because there's been so much going on. And now we've got all this today. And I'm sorry, but there has always been rumors about Trump and Epstein. There's been pictures about Trump and Epstein. And y'all wonder why the stuff hasn't been released after he swore it would be? One, because there's still an appeal going on. And two, because he's in those damn files. Like, let's be real. Even I,
So
even I know that. And I'm the
But
one who
there's
now,
a
kept
lot
now,
of
telling
now,
people
y'all.
in
what
those
I'm
if?
the
files
one who
too.
kept telling
Don't
you
forget
all
that.
Now,
over and
now, what if?
over and
So,
over
Donna,
again
what if
that it would
to
not
pace the
be
court?
released.
Oh, oh, somebody's still talking. Go ahead. Who's that?
I was saying I'm the one who has been saying over and over and over again since before the election that those files were never going to be released without the major redactions and in full until all the appeals were done. Giselle is still appealing. It can't, those can't be released. And I am pretty sure that Trump's name is in those files and they will never be released. Now, whether they're as explicit as Musk is saying or not is a different story, but I'm pretty sure his name, just like several other people that we know, his names are on those files. Sorry. And I land.
So, so the problem I have with it, Donna, because I understand philosophically what you're saying, but if Elon is playing the petty game, what if Trump decides to be petty? What if the federal, like the feds, decide to be petty? What is it? And some of the lawyers may know in here, Brandenburg versus Ohio. So the whole concept of the standard speech is not protected by the First Amendment if it directly incites to or produce imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. So somebody can read that post that Elon made and misinterpret that, and it can cause harm towards the president. Now, is it a super sound argument? Probably not, but it's an argument nonetheless. So I'm just suggesting that the way that the president can play petty, which is why I don't think people should really attempt to bother the government at that level, is much more extreme than what Elon can actually do. Like
Well,
literally. So it can
well,
become very dangerous for Elon playing those type of games, especially posting something like that publicly about the president of the United States
Well, it
going
already
over here.
has. People are
With that
calling
security
for him, but
clearance,
it already
they
has.
might put
People
it,
are
they might
calling.
blackside his ass.
It already
I
has.
agree.
People are
But
calling for him
again,
to be
he's not
deported.
scared. He can just go back to South Africa and just screw America. And he didn't, if Trump wants to fight him, he has lawyers. So he's not scared. But if you're saying Elon is being petty, I'm leaving here with a black eye and no contract.
He I don't think that what
Yeah,
he
but
I
you
don't
gotta
think that what
you
he
gotta
does,
understand, like
y'all
Got your
he
ass
went
whooped.
into that
y'all
he went
listen to
into
what he
that
just said.
contract.
He didn't say petty. He
Somebody
said that
is
this
somebody
was
speaking. What is going on?
One mic.
I said that I don't think he was saying he's being petty. I said I agree with what I don't know who it was over on Chatter, the gentleman that spoke. I agree with him. I don't think that I don't think that Elon being petty is a good idea against the US government, let alone against Trump, because they're already talking about deporting him. And if you all think that he's going to go back to South Africa happy, you got to be nuts. He doesn't want to go back to South Africa. He left South Africa, went to Canada, went to Canada and came here. What the fuck is he going to do in South Africa?
It's a very slippery
His
There's
slope.
a
companies
lot of
are
things to
all
do there.
here.
That's a very slippery.
His
Ali, we can't
They
hear you. You
talking
sound
about
like you're in
deporting
the
them.
hallway.
First time I heard that one.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody in the
Ali, we
background.
can't hear you, Ali. You sound like you're in the hallway.
I'm not Allie.
I was saying there's a lot
I
of
will
things to do
never be
here. We
Allie.
have $400 billion. There's a bill in American. Bill in New America.
Well, no, I would say this, right? Like, so he went in there. He had a government contract. He know his time was up. He's fighting and disrupting the cabinet. Like, if I'm running a company and one of the employees, a temporary employee at that, I can't. We're giving you like a bunch of special things for you to do what it is that you need to do. You can come you can sleep over at the White House. I'm taking your kid on a flight on my plane and you're over here like shoving people in my cabinet, because they're questioning the work that you're doing. We're trying to hold you accountable because you're telling me that this is what you're going to do and it's not happening. I'm asking questions. And then on top of that, you're showing up to the job and you high off of ketamine. Like, bro, come on, dog. Like, if you're running a company and you're seeing this, are you seriously going to tell me like, yeah, I'm just going to keep this guy because he could be doing anything else, but he decides no. Like, bro, your contract is almost up, bro. I think you're getting high because you feel that you couldn't accomplish the things that you wanted to accomplish, or you realize that because of all these other policies that we have in place and these things that we need to do for the American people, that this thing that you're trying to do is not going to work. We need certain things in place. And if we're going to cut anything to help that, it might have to be some of the things that go into your business. Now it's a problem. Now it's like, actually, so what's going on here, bro? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, now there's a conflict of interest. My guy, if you don't get your high ass out of this house and go back to wherever you came from, and go back to doing the job that you need to do to save your company, like, there's gonna be a problem. And so, yeah, bro, you came, you did the work you needed to do. I'm sorry you lost money. You know what I'm saying? You offered to do this. The time is almost up, but you didn't do a good job. You're showing up to work high. You're fighting employees. It's time for you to go. You're disrupting the environment. You're trying to get people to turn against the cabinet I put together. You're not the only person in the cabinet, bro. There's other people in the cabinet.
He
You know
was
what I mean? Like, you
never
got to
in the
really think about it from
cabinet.
that standpoint of view. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. You can't just look at it like, oh, he could have been doing anything. He's losing billions of dollars and all that type of stuff, bro. People lost their jobs because he had this idea that if I cut all this stuff, that it's all gonna, like, come on now, like, that you gotta, like, really look at the big picture of all this stuff. So now they're course correcting. They're showing that, the American president can't be bought by any billionaire. On top of that, the people in his cabinet back him over Musk. So,
Saying a lot.
it's just moving. It's just moving. It's just like, I just wouldn't keep him around at this point. It's just like, go get yourself together and come back. I'll see you at the golf course or something. But right now, you need a break. So I'm sorry, Musk, but thank you. But that's it. And if you look at Trump's Twitter, you see nothing but good shit about Musk. And then you look at Musk's Twitter, and you see nothing but terrible things about Trump.
Okay,
So
catch
right
up.
now, it's just kind of like, Trump is just being the bigger man, bro. Like, at the end of the
Really?
day.
Really? Did you
I'd like
not
to make
see
two
all the other
quick
stuff?
points.
And not only that, he's been suspended or deactivated from Twitter. You dude, I don't know what
Go
you're
go look
talking
at it. Go
about,
look at Twitter
but
right
the
now. Tell me he's deactivated or suspended. Go look at it right now.
I
Go
have.
look at his page.
I got the alert that he's now on True Social. He's not been posting on Twitter. He
Go
hasn't been
go open up
responding.
the X account. Go look at it because I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing all the posts he made, and there's a one post that says "Thank you, Elon," and then
How
after
long
that's a
what
bunch of
and
other
what was
things.
the date on that? What was the date on that?
The date on that is Donald J. Trump right here. Okay, so the date on that is "Thank you, Elon." Where is it?
May 31st.
Down.
Okay,
Yeah.
while you're looking real quick,
What's the
D, I
lie?
hope you'll jump in at some point because I want to hear what could Elon do with all the hacker type computer pros that came in there. Like I've heard somebody say, like the back door, leave a back door. I'm kind of curious at some point if that fits to just hear from D about like what is it Trump could do that with all that power he got.
Can we finish what we are talking about? Or are you just changing course, Allie?
No, I said that for later while this guy's looking, and there's in case you didn't hear.
He just said May 31st.
Okay, so that was
Man, he ain't leaving no back door. They would, if he left a back door, they would put him in a back of a black cell.
exactly.
How,
Yeah,
how is how
that's
is
the
Trump's account deactivated? I'm looking at his POTUS account and his regular X handle. It's active.
Well,
Yeah,
then
that's what
maybe
I'm
he
saying.
then
Like,
maybe he reacted.
come on.
Then maybe Musk changed his mind, but about 2 hours ago he had deactivated it. Now I guess it's reactivated. Who knows? These two are two little children. I mean, the stuff they really are. They're acting like freaking kids in a school box. It's a sandbox. Like I've never seen anything like this in my life. It's been, we've had three major Supreme Court decisions that I wanted to pay attention to today. I really did. Woke up early. I texted Tira. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, we're going to read these. And all of a sudden, all this stuff is blowing up every which way. Who's had time to do anything but follow these tweets? Honestly, nobody. And this is all we're talking about with all the stuff that's going on right now. This is what we're talking about. The
But
whole
there's
world.
really nothing to talk about. Musk is over here throwing a rampant rage. He got kicked out, fired of his job. He was,
Okay,
and
stop with
they're
the
moving forward.
fired.
Trump
He
said,
did not get
"Thank you."
fired.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Was
I
said
don't know
three
why.
times before you said it, Tira. He wasn't fired.
I'm not Tira.
Yeah, he
I'm
wasn't fired.
Sean.
He got let go of, or his contract was up. It was just like,
It was none of that.
moving on, bro. Like he's like, I got a business to run. You're causing problems. Go over. Just go over there and be an angry and like person who got fired from their job and
Okay,
say a bunch of
you
negative things about the
cannot get
company.
fired
We
from a
got to keep things
job that
moving.
you were never appointed to. He was in a
Yeah, and
He
if
had a
you
government
temporary
contract.
position.
yeah,
He
but if
was
he wanted
appointed.
to
He was
show
part of
the
the
people
cabinet.
in Tesla that he was coming back to focus on Tesla to help the stock price, a contract that naturally ended doesn't do it, but a fight might.
Good point there.
The contract ended.
There,
He had no
there
reason to
was
be
no
there. He needed to go back to his
Oh my
company. If he's gonna
God.
stay there, like it's one thing if you're there and you're helping, like you're helping things move forward. But it's another thing if you're there and you're shoving people and causing problems and showing up high.
Okay, he
This
wasn't
is a
showing
problem.
up high. Musk has been on
He was on
I
ketamine.
think the
ketamine.
K
Like
hole is a
did you not see this
problem.
Yeah,
guy
but
like
he's been
high
on
out his mind
no,
in the office?
he's been on ketamine for years. It's part of his treatment. And trust me, I am no Musk fan at all. Like zero fan of this man. I think he's destroyed what was Twitter. That's why I won't call it anything. But I will tell you this: he was not high. He does ketamine for his whatever ailment you want to call him, his autism, his Asperger's, whatever is wrong with the guy. But
His dark gothic magism.
that too. There we go, Allie. You got it that time. Now, the bottom line is he came on as a consultant. There was no contract, there was no nothing. All that had to be done is if he was going to become permanent, he had to go before Congress and be approved. He never wanted that, just like Ali said, and neither did his boards, and there are several of them. He needs to get back to figure out why SpaceX can't seem to launch a goddamn thing without it exploding in Santa Barbara. He needs to go take care of Tesla and the gazillion lawsuits against them, not to mention the fact that, one of the cars took off 2 weeks ago and killed 9 people with nobody in it. So, like, he's got a lot of stuff to do right now.
Yeah,
Like
like if
his
he
his
actually
his
needs to back off of
120 his
SpaceX
100.
for Tesla, it works to blame Trump for backing off of SpaceX. Sorry to keep
Yeah, he
barreling
he, need,
through.
No, no,
he
no.
needs to
You're
go back
right,
to
but
work.
but
Yeah,
do
so
you?
what's he doing at the White House? What's he doing tweeting? He needs to go back to work. Like,
He's not
come on
at the
now.
White House. He's here. He's actually here in California right
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's back. Like, let him focus on his thing. Like, that's why. Like, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this right now. You go look at this man's page. It's a rant. It's literally like a
now.
young
Do you
kid just going on a
expect?
rampant rampage,
Yeah,
upset that
he's
he's not
upset
getting
that
his way,
Trump.
and then the
He's
other
up.
guy is just like, sorry, I gotta keep it moving. And I respect that a lot more than the person who's over here like just tripping, like angry. Like, go work on your business, man. You got problems, so go focus on that. And
But
then
why is this
when things are
bothering
smooth
you
and you're
so?
back in the cohesive space, then we can get back to working together.
But
You're making the case for which one not
they're
tripping?
never going to work together, number 1. Number 2, this is totally the way Elon Musk reacts. He always has with everything and everybody. And number 3, the fact that Donald Trump is behaving himself today is because he had somebody, I think it was from Germany, there at the White House, and he couldn't respond. It's now what, 1 in the morning where Trump is, right? 11, 12. Yeah, 1 in the morning. Give it another hour. Trump is going to start going and doing his, 2, 3 a.m. madman on True Social. Just you wait. Trump doesn't know how to take care of himself either. He's going to keep saying things. They probably took his phone away from him earlier today to stop him from saying anything stupid. But again,
You,
why are you so
recent late
Why
night
are you
tweets were
so
for China.
what?
I think sometimes he's doing these late night tweets and it's maybe responding to news in a different tone.
Allie. Come on, Allie. That man that you saw during even the presidential stuff, like at 3 a.m., the man goes from 3 to 5. He's eating his McDonald's and doing whatever and tweeting like a madman. I don't
He
think it has
actually
anything to
has
do with
somebody
China.
who he just talks and they type it in and they tweet it for him.
We don't know that.
I think they wake him up and they
No,
say
he
he
does
says
that. There's
wake up.
there's footage of him with
Yeah,
the
there's foot.
lady. She
Yeah,
sits
and
next to
there's
him and
footage
types
of him when
what he says.
There's
Just
footage of
wake
him in
me up if
Epstein's
somebody says
Island.
something about me.
And
Send me that footage.
there's footage of him
I
in
got you. I'll
Epstein
post it.
Island. And like, I don't get why this is like such a big deal to you. And I don't know your name. I'm sorry because I'm not on Chatter until V2 launches, or I reactivate, or I set up a new account. But like, I don't understand, why does this bother you so much?
It doesn't bother me. To be honest, this is just entertainment. I'm just here because
Ow.
it's late.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, this is just entertainment to me.
Oh, I'm not bothered. I'm just naturally animated.
No, no, I that was me screaming. I bumped into something. It, I tripped over Rosie. Sorry, that was me cursing, not you,
I
Allie.
blame my mother for my animated state.
Come on now, be nice to moms. If I can get along with mine for the first time in 59 years, you can do it too.
Well done.
Can you believe it, Allie? I'm still.
What do you think? Do you think they're gonna kiss and make up, Shauna, or
Fuck no.
it's over? Their bruised, fragile egos can't recover.
Nope. There's no kissing and making up. You cannot come back
I
from this.
agree.
Do you? I mean, look, Allie, you and I, perfect example. You and I have said some nasty shit to each other, but we have never taken it as low as Elon took it. Never. Okay. And you cannot come
It's
back from that.
fair.
You just can't.
I think they'll kiss and make up.
Why?
His own
Why?
VP used to hate his ass.
Why do you think they'll kiss? Like, what do you think the benefit is of kissing and making up is for Trump? Well, Trump, it doesn't.
Well,
Trump
because
is
That's what I
because
was
against
one
gonna
it.
say.
Musk
How
is
do they
like
need each other?
Musk is a like a leading innovator. You know, when it comes to like this AI stuff. Just he has a voice in that space. I wouldn't say he's the best.
But he did a
One
500.
to listen
You're in the
when it comes.
Matrix. You're in the Matrix, and he did a $500 billion AI deal. AI deal with Larry Ellison. So he's already
Yes,
made his choice.
and
So
and he's not the Ali. Agree with me, but I think is he's not the leader in AI. Sam Altman was or is, and Larry Ellison is. Musk is just jumping on.
That's what I just
Musk
said.
is
I just
just.
say he's not the leader and he's not the number one person in AI. Well, what I'm saying is
I
that
thought you just
it
said
would
he's a
benefit him
leader in
to
AI.
you know,
You went into the matrix, so we didn't hear what you said. I
hear
apologize.
somebody. Yeah, I can't hear you either.
You went into the matrix, so Ali even pointed out you cut out. We couldn't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
no,
Nah.
go 5 feet to the left. Disconnecting
Get
your
some aluminum
internet
foil, bro.
home. Switch it up. Something
Can
else. Phone
Can
to
you hear
home.
me over here from Clubhouse or no? I mean, CH, Ali.
Yeah, I hear you. You guys hear me now?
Good
No.
lordy.
Bless
Everybody
your soul.
underwater.
Well,
Except for the person I spoke over. My bad.
Clubhouse has been I'm sorry, CH has been acting up, so I can't tell half the time if y'all can hear me or not, even if it's not streaming to the other place. But um,
What did you explore with Tira? You looked into this a bit. I
no,
didn't.
no, no. I woke up early this morning. Shocker, because I had forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and of course, as soon as the Supreme Court let out the four main cases today, and they were all unanimous, my phone started like shaking on the bedside table, and I didn't know what the hell was happening. I thought we were having another earthquake or some tsunami warming. I looked over and I'm like, damn it, I forgot to put in Do Not Observe. So of course, me, Ali, I'm thinking, what the hell? I start getting all these alerts, not just from my phone, like from news alerts, but I start getting the emails that are coming through, from my law practice, because that's also attached to my phone. And all of a sudden, I'm getting all these cases, and four unanimous. This Supreme Court is never unanimous. So all I did was text Tira the four cases as they came through to me. I'm sure she'd already had them. I don't know. I haven't heard from her. And it was, I had planned to read them and look into them. And I only ended up reading one. I never heard back from her. So she must have been busy. And then in all honesty, I haven't been feeling well. So I didn't come on until just now. So I don't even know if you guys talked about any of the cases or not.
No, well, I don't think so. What's the one that you looked into first?
The one from Ohio, white heterosexual women, we get to sue for reverse discrimination.
Wow, I didn't know that was on the docket.
Yes. So a Ohio woman, she was passed over for a promotion by somebody who was hired outside of the company by a lesbian, and then she was demoted so that a gay man could take her position. So she sued, and the lower court said no, and the Supreme Court unanimously said that she was discriminated against, and that so it's been remanded back to the lower courts for a trial.
So how does this tie into like DEI?
It didn't mention DEI. It's just that reverse discrimination. This poor, and I'm saying this very facetiously, this poor white straight woman is now being discriminated against. That's I never thought the United States Supreme Court would be unanimous on that. Never. I mean, Ketanji Brown, like she agreed to this. It's mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. So that's the only
So
one I
what's the
read.
argument? It's discrimination.
Yeah, it's
It's
reverse.
unconstitutional, or
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how it works.
unconscionable. Yeah, no, it's unconstitutional. It's considered reverse discrimination.
I
Because
think it's the opposite of gay rights and trans rights, Alan. She kind of
Yeah,
makes
I
mm,
sense.
picked up on that, Donna.
Got it.
Hence, I
Did you double
mentioned
ask? I was like,
DEI because
follow along.
that's the polarity
I
of the
don't think it had anything
situation.
to. I don't think it had anything to do with DEI because diversity, equity, and
Um,
inclusion is
yeah, I know. I'm saying the opposite is right. She's a white woman. She's not a DEI person,
no,
and
but
she got her rights validated, but DEI rights were taken away.
well, that's what's interesting. So that's a good point, right? So, but the DEI rights were taken away after this case, not before, because this case is 2 or 3 years old, right? This is a regular case. It's not.
Okay,
Remember,
interesting.
so remember, most cases take a while to work their way up to the United States Supreme Court, unless you're Donald Trump yelling at the court. So this case was heard was last June, what or July. What they accepted the case. So oral arguments were sometime this past few months. I don't remember when. And now starting today, moving till the first week of July, every day we're going to get cases from the United States Supreme Court. Their decisions. Remember last year, Allie, we all would wait with bated breath on the immunity decision. And it came on the very last day. So all these other ones are coming out now. Some are kind of important, some are not so important. Or I shouldn't say they're not important. They're not things that the everyday average person would follow because it doesn't affect them. But when you asked me which one I thought was which one I had read, that was that one. The other one that was unanimous was Mexico cannot sue the gun manufacturers in the U.S. for supplying guns to the cartel. Um, I think what surprised
Wow,
me, the thing that surprised me the
that seems
most.
like it should be not allowed.
Well, but the thing that surprised me the most of the five cases, they were all unanimous. So the first one was they unanimously sided with a heterosexual woman in reverse discrimination. The second one, unanimous, they backed a Catholic group's bid for a tax exemption on religious grounds for a school. So Catholic school gets a tax exemption on religious grounds. That was unanimous. Shocking to me. That one is shocking
Wow.
too.
So we got
Next,
the hetero pride party. We got the NRA vote.
we got and then we got the Mexico cannot sue U.S. gun makers over cartel violence. That was unanimous. And the fourth one, this one was weird. They ruled that foreign arbitration awards are not okay. So there was an arbitration between and India, not Indians. Two companies owned by India that had an arbitration clause because they did business in the US. It went to arbitration. They didn't like the outcome. They took it to court, and the Supreme Court said, "Nope, those aren't binding because you can't bind a foreign country unanimously." Again, like, first of all, there's never any unanimous anything, and four today. Can't wait to see what tomorrow comes with. It's gonna be so exciting.
Did you see any other news other than Supreme Court stuff today? Or are you doing other stuff?
Um,
Seems like there's got to be. I'm just wondering if there's any kind of news that might be like all this stuff between the two of them is a with Trump and Elon is a distraction. Like makes when stuff like this is like taken over, it makes me want to wonder like what else is are we
well,
not focusing on that
the
Trump is
the other
stepping in today?
I mean, you know how Greta Thunberg is on her there on the cruise ship or whatever you want to call it, the ship to free Palestine. Um, they're not allowed to enter Egyptian, Jordanian, or Israeli waters, and nobody's going to rescue them. They're just going to leave them out there. So that came out today. Um, two of the
I didn't
American.
know Greta was out at sea, and
Oh yeah,
I say bring her home.
she went back out with a whole bunch of pro-Palestinians. They want to land in Gaza and spread peace and awareness. The other big thing, but this happened last night, is that the IDF and the Shin Bet found the remains of the two American hostages. They were a couple. One was I think she was 76. He was 80. They found him and brought him back to Israel for proper burial. Um, a court stayed the deportation of the Egyptian man's family um, from the Boulder, Colorado case. You know, they were being deported, and a Biden judge stayed the deportation. Um, what else? That's all I didn't watch the news today. I spoke to somebody who is a reporter who is a good friend of mine. I've been waiting for her to tell me when she's finally quit because she was in sort of a bind with writing a book and they didn't want her to and whatever. So I talked to her, but we really didn't have any news about that. Trump wants $500 billion back from California on the high speed rail. What else did I see today? The New York mayor's race. That's like kicking on. You know, that election is in less than a week or in a week and a half, something like that. So that's really important because you've got former Governor Cuomo versus somebody who is backed by AOC. What else, Allie? I mean, you got a lot going on in your state. I'll just leave that to you. Uh,
I just got distracted looking at Eric Weinstein's Twitter post.
stay off of Twitter. Oh, the cannabis. The federal, so you know they had the so you know it's against federal law to have marijuana still, and you know all these places that are selling cannabis and stuff, and so for a while there the feds were raiding those and going and seizing the property owned by the landlords, and that had been on hold for quite some time. That's starting up again, so there might be some activity. And then there's the ice raids. So why are the ICE agents going around with masks on, first of all, or face coverings? They're going into schools. We know that they're going into schools. We also know they're going to courtrooms, which is expected because why shouldn't they go into courtrooms, federal courtrooms? But there's a lot of people wondering why they're faces are covered. And then I heard of a death threat against somebody. There's a death threat against is it Hegseth? Is that how you say his name? Because he's stripping he wants to strip the names off of 20 naval ships. So there's the news that I heard today.
Anything happen in the Gulf of America?
Not that I'm aware of. Well, yes, they lost
Oh my
their
gosh,
bid.
okay.
They
You're
lost
on it.
they lost their bid to go after the gun companies for giving guns to the cartel. Um, I heard about that the other day, that there was something that somebody is suing Google Maps because Google Maps, I think it was Google Maps, changed it to that name, and you can't do that because that's not what it's called legally. Like, other than that, no, that's all I can tell you, Allie.
What about, were you in here when people were talking about the 12
No,
countries banned? And
no.
then there's a conspiracy person that came in, was like, war's coming. This is the plan. These kinds of things. It's a slow creep.
No, I haven't been in here, as you know. I haven't even been on, and I don't come in during the podcast because I just am usually not around, and I'm not coming back until V2 officially launches. But there is so what's interesting. So what's interesting is the there's the 12 countries, but there's actually 28, I think, total. But then there's all the exceptions, and nobody gets to read the exceptions. Everybody just sees the headline of these 12 countries have been banned. Um, I'm not quite sure why so many African countries that are not terrorist places are banned, because that's, I think, what you're talking about is the 12 countries in Africa. I think out of those 12, only 3 are terrorist related. So it's kind of weird. Um,
I didn't realize they were all in Africa.
no,
Sorry, that's
not,
not what you said.
no, not all of them. Well, there's a whole bunch of countries. I mean, and there's different levels. I mean, Cuba and Haiti are banned, but they're on a lower level than these countries in Africa. And then what was it? Syria? No, Afghanistan, Iran, and what was the other one? I can't remember. Um,
What do you
I just think it's what he's doing again. And if you know what, quite frankly, if it's going to protect people from coming in who don't have a reason to come in, because like I said, there's a lot of exceptions, and nobody ever reads the exceptions but me. Um, so if you're coming here on a legit visa, or you're being sponsored by a family member for a visit, or any of those things, they can still come from those countries. But at this point, if we can keep America safe from bombings and killings and whatever else, then I'm okay with it for now. I know that sounds odd coming from me, but I really am, because I'm tired of all these foiled plots to kill people, all these actual terrorist attacks that are happening. Um, and I think it's only going to get worse. So the fact that he's reacting, I think, is good. And since the Iran stuff all blew up and they're no longer speaking, I mean, not really sure why any. I mean, unless you're coming from Iran to escape, um, or Afghanistan, I don't see any reason why they want to come to America anyway, unless it's to kill all the Americans. Oh, Libya was on the list too, but I don't like Haiti. I don't understand why Haiti's on the list. I mean, I don't think there's terrorists in Haiti, um, and I think that Cuba, that's crazy too. But
Well,
Haiti,
they've got like Russia. They're an ally with Russia, and I think Russia has subs there, and they do for a while. I think they do nuclear
no,
exercises.
they just have their.
I think I saw even a couple of years ago that they were like doing more than normal, or I don't know. America noted it, that it was occurring, and they observed it, and it was
It
not the
happens
normal
every.
schedule and
No, no,
more or something.
no. It happens every year. and they're not nuclear. They're just doing sub exercises, and it's Russians off of the waters, which is just as close to Miami as to Cuba. But again, that doesn't mean that the people in Cuba shouldn't be allowed to come here if they want to visit their families.
Yeah.
Or if, I mean, first of all,
Well,
the government of Cuba is not going to let them out, but now we're banning them too.
right. And I mean, they're just like, I just was saying the ally and the subs and exercises, but Venezuela, I'm pretty sure they've got like nuke tipped missiles that are, connected with Russia and Venezuela as well as like an ally with Russia. It was like 4 years ago that I saw that.
Isn't China also at Cuba's border? I heard that. We were trying to think of distractions. Has anybody spoke on? Has there been a reaction to what Ukraine did to Russia? Has
Yes.
there been? There has been
By who?
by us, or are we just staying out of it and pretending it didn't happen?
We're all cheering. At least I am. I
Well,
mean,
what
but
what
it was
happened? Because
genius. It was genius what Ukraine pulled off. Now, mind you, this has been a year in the planning, but it
they
was
attacked them on
genius.
their soil, because
Yeah, so they got
that
drones.
might bring China in and get China on Russia's side, in my opinion, because of that
Well,
agreement made at the Olympics
yeah, nothing.
between Xi and Putin.
This happened a few days ago. This no, this happened almost a week ago, Ali. It happened over the weekend, last weekend, so almost a week ago.
I'm
Um,
out of the loop. It happens regularly.
no. I'm just letting you know. This like so, and China hasn't said a word. Nobody has. The U.S.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody in the U.S. is cheering for Ukraine because it was fucking genius. They somehow got drones onto Russian dr- driven trucks and were able to, as these trucks got near these planes and air bases inside Russia, the drones were set free and blew up 61 planes and did a whole bunch of damage inside Russia, not to people, to their military. It was, I mean, it was genius. But nobody has said anything. I think that it's. I thought I saw something, but I could be wrong. That it might get Putin to talk to Trump, but Putin had his opportunity, and he's sticking 10 toes down on this. He Ukraine said we'll ceasefire, we'll do what they want, and here's the mineral deals. We signed away our rights like idiots, and Putin said no. So, Trump's mad at Putin. Um, and then Ukraine went and did that. So I've seen nor heard no backlash. I've just heard a lot of people um what's the word? It's not complimenting, but it's not condemning. Approving, I guess is a better word, approving of what Ukraine did and how they were managed to pull it off.
so we're no longer negotiating here. We're just gonna leave it, let those two fight it out. Because we did put we put our stamp on it. We got in the middle, and we became a peacemaker.
Yeah, but what do you do
And
when Putin says
then there's
no?
secret attacks.
Well, no, we didn't put our stamp of approval on a secret attack. Trump did everything he could, in my opinion, which is not a high one to many people, but in my opinion, Trump did what he did. He got a deal to the best of his abilities. He got Zelensky to agree to certain things, and Russia said no. What else can be done? Like, I know there's
Six.
people that think Trump has a magic wand, but seriously, what else can be done?
No, you actually educated me because I thought Putin said yes first, and Ukraine was on the fence. So you said Ukraine finally folded, and then Putin backed out, and here we are.
Wait, no. So Putin never agreed to anything. Remember, there was the tense meeting and the alleged disrespect of not wearing a suit to the White House.
by
I remember
Zelensky.
that.
Okay, then at the Pope's funeral, Zelensky was greeted like a rock star, and Trump was shunned by everybody. And I think it was Macron. I'm pretty sure it was Macron. They were inside the Vatican, and he literally pulled up two chairs and sat Zelensky and Trump down, and then he walked away. What was said, none of us have ever heard. And then a week or so later, maybe it was, the mineral rights deal was signed. And then that was the end of it. There was, and the people of Ukraine and Zelensky, we'll agree, we'll work on a ceasefire. And Putin said no. So I don't know if Putin's mad because they got the mineral rights that Putin wants. Now the U.S. has them, or if I don't know, like, or if Putin was waiting to see what happens with Iran, because now that's fallen apart, and Iran is refusing any. Am I coming across staticky to you guys?
No, I'm just sitting here going, wow, I never thought about that. That how the mineral rights going to us is incentive for Russia to not attack. It just, I
No,
don't know. Just,
Russia
I
is
hadn't
good. You mean for
thought of
Russia
that
not?
before.
No, Russia wants them. That's why they are going to continue to attack. Because if they get
Right,
that
but I
land,
mean, them giving their, I didn't think of it before about how them giving their mineral rights away to us makes them a less attractive target to Russia, which isn't your point, but it was just another random thought I was having.
got it. But also the Iran nuclear, the fact that the Ayatollah has said no, 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 and Trump keeps, talking about, every few days, oh, we got big news coming from either Israel or Iran, and then he's got egg on his face. Um, as long as Iran doesn't capitulate to with Trump, then Putin is fine over there. He can keep, sending all of his missiles and his things to all those countries in the Middle East, including Iran, and he's got their protection too. And I don't know what I haven't since that drone strike. I haven't heard anything. Like I haven't heard any fighting. I haven't heard any reports. Um, because it wiped out quite a
Happened
few.
in Syria a couple days ago or something.
No, I
Forget
meant it.
what.
No, you can't. Russia did not fire back. Syria, the stuff in Syria. Who? The U.S. or the Israelis?
I thought it was something with us, but I could be mistaken.
That was a couple weeks ago. Since then, Israel has destroyed. Not in Syria, in Yemen. The airport twice now. Because the Houthis
That's
keep
us attacking, right?
no. So we attacked first, and the U.S. attacked first, and then since then the U.S. hasn't done any attacking in the Middle East. It's all been Israel because from Yemen, not to Syria. Nobody's attacking in Syria. Um, the the
We
the
went into Yemen basically to show support for Bibi in Israel. Is
just for
that
Israel,
right?
Israel, not Bibi. But also to get them to
Okay.
stop.
Thank you for
Also to
that
get
clarification.
well,
I'm not a BB supporter. I didn't mean to insinuate.
no, 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 no. I don't like when people say because of Bibi. I think it's because of the people of Israel. Like I've listened as much as I dislike that man, Trump. I have listened to him speak, and he always refers to the people of Israel. He doesn't refer to his friend Bibi. And what he has tried to do is bring peace to that region, which is why he got Saudi and a few other places when he went over there and didn't go to Israel to sign more, like onto the Abraham Accords. But Syria is a
I
problem.
don't know what those are.
Something that Kushner got in place. It's a peace thing, oil, money, all that stuff. And he got the Qatar Air Force One. Yemen is a problem.
Oh yeah, that I remember that part.
Yeah, that's when he was over there. Yemen is a problem. Yemen
The
continues
some kind of
every
like a
single
plane he
day.
gets to take with him, right? When he leaves, that's what you meant.
Well, no, Qatar gave him a
That was
plane
something
that.
different.
No, yeah, Qatar gave him a plane that he wants to turn to Air Force One, and that's died down because it really can't happen. It's going to cost too many billions of dollars, whatever. So he just has a plane when he. Plus, it's unethical, and so at some point he'll have a plane waiting for him when he a big plane, a big beautiful plane. Um, no,
And
the
maybe
whole
the richest man and richer than Elon. I
yeah.
bet you that is a goal. I bet you that's a life goal to have more money than Elon.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Um, but no, Yemen's a problem because they keep shooting missiles, and they keep every day. They are just not letting up. So at some point, I think the U.S. is going to get involved again with Yemen, and do another strike. I just don't know when.
So my geography's bad. Who is Yemen shooting at?
Who do you
My
think?
history's bad.
Who do you
We're
think?
attacking Yemen because Yemen is attacking who?
Israel.
Got it.
There are
That's
700.
interesting. Have
There's
you ever heard that Ukraine has ties with Israel?
yeah. Everybody has. That's not.
Is it official that Gaza, what's happening in Gaza, is genocide?
Nope. In fact, all those reports, all the news agencies had to recant because the drone footage showed that it was the Hamas that was killing the Gazans going to get aid and not the Israelis or not the IDF. I'm the wrong person to ask about whether I think it's a genocide or not. I'm Jewish and I have family involved.
Could you possibly put something in the chat that leads backs that up because I've never seen anything like that and I've been on top of that since the beginning. I would really appreciate it.
Wait, the stuff that just happened with the aid trucks?
You know, the comment that you just made.
Did you mean that I think she meant, did you mean the genocide?
Yes, that's what I
That
meant.
it's not official that
Yes.
genocide is happening in Gaza?
Yes.
Oh, I that's based on, and remember then I followed that with I'm the wrong person to talk
Yeah.
about that
Okay,
too.
so that's you're
Yeah.
saying that's your
That was a
opinion. I respect that. And then okay, thank you. Thank you for
yeah.
Yeah,
clarifying.
no, I was talking what is a fact is BBC, ABC, and CNN have all retracted their statement about um, last week how the IDF opened fire on the people coming to get aid from the aid trucks in Gaza when the drone footage that was released, not just by Israel but by there's a new group in Gaza. They're trying to fight Hamas, but they're also a terrorist group. Released footage that it's Hamas that's shooting at their own people.
How do they know? Because people could just wear uniforms from the other side.
Um, Good point. It's Please don't anybody attack me. It's not Israel's way to do things. They don't put on somebody else's uniform. They proudly
Yeah. Well,
they
the
proudly wear their own
the
uniform. They've admitted to when the people from the foreign dignitaries came in the West Bank and they opened fire in the air because they got too close. They've admitted to that. Israel will admit when they've done something. Israel would never put on a Hamas uniform or whatever and shoot people. They'll shoot them like I mean a year ago, a year and a half ago. Remember there was the two people that came out that were hostages and they were killed by accident because Israel thought they were actually um, Hamas. Uh, It's just not. It's not in their nature. I mean, but then when you look at the hostage releases and that whole propaganda crap, you had the Hamas people in Israeli uniforms that they had stolen from the soldiers that they kidnapped and killed into Gaza. So, but again, I mean, you have to trust whatever news source you want to. I think the biggest news though is that the BBC, which has been pro Gaza, that what's happening to Gaza. I'm not even saying they're pro Hamas, pro Gaza, has had to retract every single week for the last, I think it's been 4 months. because they put out these statements and then it comes to find out that they're not true. And the same thing with ABC. So I don't know. I guess you have to take it for what it's worth. Um, I hope that answers
Yeah,
your question.
I just typed in on Google who says Gaza is not genocide, and the first thing that comes up is Biden um, said the forces are not committing genocide.
Well,
But that was May 2024.
well, Biden is not. I mean, yeah. Let's keep Biden and Kamala out of that whole thing because they had quite a lot to say and didn't want to send aid. There's a genocide and then there's a war. This is a war. The difference is in the last month, the people of Gaza are fighting back against Hamas. They've actually called for an election. They've called for Hamas to lay down their weapons. They are tired of this. And that's the first time that's happened since 2007. So, but I mean,
Uh,
I don't know how to, I don't know. I mean, like, to me, what a genocide is versus what happens in a war are two very different things. But that's just me.
I'm looking now at the American Jewish Committee, who vehemently, that's not how
Yes.
you say that word, is it?
Yeah, it is vehemently.
Vehemently, yeah,
Yes.
that's better. I didn't say it that way. Rejects the Amnesty International claim that when they made the case for genocide.
Well, and the UN tried, and then, we found out that several of the UN agencies were helping Hamas. And then the International Criminal Court, well, the one who sent out all the arrest warrants, he
Oh,
was,
hold on, wait. Can we
he
just
was,
go back to the first one? Because that's
okay.
a huge claim. That I mean, who is this? Did you say? And did they get tricked, or they intentionally supported Hamas and stand by it, or do they say we didn't support Hamas, or we did get tricked?
Who? The
This guy,
HHC.
well, you said there's these people that were supporting Hamas.
No, the people of Gaza, the civilians of Gaza are done. They want nothing more to do with Hamas.
Right, but okay, but it was like
They
the
they
last thing you said at the very end. I thought I was referencing. I don't know. It's gone.
that there's a counter group that's also a terrorist group, but they're supporting the people to get rid of Hamas. Is that the one, or the International Criminal Court guy, or the UN? Those are the three things I said.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just keep it moving. Who else is awake? I ended up getting a text, and then just my tracking for the conversation went down at least 40% in the last 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
I can't help you there. Sorry. I screamed and yelled when I tripped over Rosie because they're doing construction in my apartment, and that was my only distraction. And she's sound asleep and wouldn't even know that I had tripped over her.
So you ready for V2? New people are back.
No, I said I would
Fund,
come
fund
back.
me. Did I say it right? Probably not.
I
Shoot.
said I would come back for V2. I promised Nelson I would come back.
We aren't going to have replays, but we are going to have sound in the audience. And probably people will be able to delete my chats, which will make me sad. Changes are coming.
I don't know anything. I haven't heard what the changes are or any of that stuff. And I still don't know how I'm going to do over there. It wasn't healthy. I got attacked a lot, and I got, there's some people over there that are scary to me, not you. And
Are you on Twitter? Oh,
no,
sorry. You said AN?
no, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not crazy.
MySpace?
No,
Just kidding.
I'm on, yeah. Allie, I'm old, but I'm not. I'm too old for MySpace. I'm on CH still. I still have my rooms on. I mean, my. A lot of people, of course, have gone over and they do DTN over there, but I still have my legal rooms and my groups over here. So when I'm having treatment, um, I'll usually have my headphones on while I'm getting infused for 5 hours, and I'll, be in clubhouse rooms, sorry, CH rooms, but I don't know. Um, I want uh, Nelson to succeed. So if I do come back, it would be to help maybe some of the new rooms or something, or if people from over here go over there, kind of a thing. Sorry,
Wait, for what?
I'm just saying sorry for not being there.
It's gonna,
For having to
once
yell and
V2 hits and once the marketing process has commenced, is that right? That means beginning, right? Not
yeah,
ending. I always
commence.
get those confused.
I don't know how commence means
Commencement speech, that's the end,
no
not the beginning.
no commencement speech.
Did I do it? Did I reverse it?
Yeah,
I couldn't. Well, I had to have. I said both, I think.
a
Beginning and
commencement
end.
a commencement speech is to let people know that you're going out there and starting anew. So you're coming, you're commencing, you're beginning.
Okay, so but the graduation literally is the name where there's a commencement speech.
Because and those speeches are, you've done all this stuff and now go forth and be wonderful. So it's you coming into,
So after graduation.
yeah.
Okay, that was a left field trip.
Yeah. How many bowls have you smoked?
I had a glass of wine. I am sleepy, and I promised my mama I'm going. She wants to go to a new spot. My 80 plus mom, like her grandma, she's pretty active. My grandma's gone now, but we're going for a walk in the morning, and I definitely am sleepy.
Are you the
I did
only
smoke
one
a
over there?
bowl earlier, but I don't. It's this Arkansas weed. I don't know. I
Are
don't
you
feel
the
like I
only
can
one?
really get stony that
Are you the only
much. My
one
eyes
over there?
get red, and I don't like it. So it's not. It's not like Colorado weed. It doesn't have the same pull
Are you the only?
magnetism for me.
Are you the only one awake over there?
I'm by myself here in this apartment across the street from my parents.
No,
Is anybody else
no.
awake here
No,
in the room?
yeah,
Cat.
Alice was asking if you're the only one awake on Chatter.
Go to bed,
Yeah,
Kat.
I'm up over here.
Okay,
Go to
wait. Well, look
Somebody
at that. We
sleep.
got some activity.
Somebody was asking for a reset, but if you're the only person awake on there, there's no real reset to go. It's just you and I chatting. If there's other people over there, then they should take over.
I'll give it. I'm gonna take over. Welcome to motherfucking chatter, bitches. Okay, wake the fuck up. You think that it's okay to sleep, and at some point, this room should be silent, but that moment is not quite here. It's not now. So, who's awake and has something fun to say to keep me awake longer so that I'm so tired? I went swimming. My legs are already noodles that are like, what do you call them? Numb, wet noodles. But I'm going to go walking with my fit mom up these hills. It's an old 80 plus year old gym. All right. So who jumped in there? Was that, there's like two people that were awake. Dinah didn't answer. Dance hall? Are you there? TJN, we got in trouble for interrupting. Robbie, I love for Clubhouse the
I could scream
in-game
Jonathan's
rooms.
name. Allie, I could scream Jonathan's name really loud, and I bet you he would hear it and wake up.
I could start playing some spiritual wisdom. He'd probably come in. What the fuck? Lil J, how was your day?
It was a good day.
Get
It
at it.
began. Yeah, I got at it. It began, and finally it's about to end. It's a good day.
So was it like this thing my sister used to say to me in a different context? Get it, got it good. You might say that to anybody
No,
else.
that's
Yeah.
not that's a different context.
But that was a different context, and I would hear, get it, got it good. I meant it, I'm just using it in a new word, the word in a new way. It's hopefully complimentary. You got to just imagine the context. This is the opposite, positive. What were you going to say, Jay, about your day?
Oh, that was about it. I believe if you really speak in detail about your day, then you work, then you double work. So I always refrain from speaking about a work day.
Are you a big dreamer?
Mm, I don't know. Okay, yes, I am. But everything in between is not a dreamer or I'm more detailed in work. Big dreamer, but then once the dream happens, I just lock it in and I go in the detail route versus the more open space flow route. I don't think that's natural considering your question, but you must understand I've been in the military, so I'm, I've, I've been trained and I trained myself to be that way.
What's funny is the question I was thinking about saying, and then I dropped my phone, was how do you um, manage to be disciplined in your life? I don't even know why that popped in my head. It was kind of in my head, I guess, connected to what you said, but that was my question. And now I'm thinking for sure that's the right question. Something about like, okay, I liked a little structure growing up. Like, I connect discipline to integrity, but I'm not really good at guilt tripping myself. And I do like the pleasure principle. I learned like there's parts of the brain that grow. Like when you go to the gym and you hit a plateau and there's no resistance, but you don't level up. Well, you have to have that resistance, to have that part of the brain grow. And like with overweight people and versus pro athletes, there's a difference in the brain, right? And so I can see why routines, especially healthy choices, being in a routine, right? And let go of whatever 5 generations of bad habits that are in my DNA. If they're in my zone a little bit and eating healthy and they're staying caught up with work, being really good about not procrastinating and, carpe the diem and just do it. And I like having the right attitude. when I'm doing it. And I know, like, some people say, you know what you do when you don't want to go to the gym? You know, when you really don't want to go to the gym, how do you get through it? You know, you just go. Or I'm not really repeating the quote. It was way more eloquent. Yeah, it was definitely short and concise and clear. But point is, you know, sometimes you just push through the resistance, and that's good. And so, how do you have any advice for somebody that lacks discipline? I mean, ultimately, I admit I'm lacking some integrity, right? And procrastination, not always respecting my own choices, and all these things come into play. So, how do you have a good idea for how I might naturally not force it? Because that doesn't work for me either in certain ways, right? How do I naturally desire to be disciplined without going into the military?
But that's oxymoron because you don't naturally desire discipline. So the best concept
Some
is more
people
than
grow
one
up with
way.
that structure and they're more comforted by it because, you know, the bed sheets were like that. So they keep it that way and it makes them feel good and they like it.
Yeah, that's great. You know, someone who seeks comfort will get comfort, but they won't get growth.
That's a good point.
You know, that's like a seed. Like this. Think of it like this. I think this is a good analogy for you. You can plant a seed, and a seed can always remain a seed underneath the ground. It'll be comfortable, and that's that. Or that seed can be planted, and then it goes through the growth process of actually first the plant breaking out of the seed. It grows roots. It grows roots down. It starts to grow leaves up. Has to push through the dirt just to get beyond the surface, and then grow and probably fight for the sun along with other plants around it. But in doing that, it actually reaches fruition. So you can be, you know, chilling. You can be a seed and just chill in the dirt and be comfortable, or you can
Go all the
seek
way and
growth.
be fruity.
Yeah, and be fruity. But yeah, you got it. But yeah, there's no. I'm not gonna say there's no such thing because you can be born into a position where you can, you know, be comfortable and still have growth. But at that point, you're born into a privileged state. But not even when you get into the 1% of people, you know, who are at a certain level, not even all of them are born into that privileged state. No. So you have to, yeah, just either you're hard on yourself or life will be hard on you in any facet of it. So if it's physically that you're worried about, physically be hard on yourself so life won't, so you will beat life to it. And that's my piece of advice. And life will be harder on you than you can possibly be on yourself.
That officially, I think, could go in a tough love category, maybe. I don't know. Those words, it's like the words maybe I like a little more than hard would be challenging, leads to extra reward. I'm trying to get away from reward based. I like flow states. And I do think our natural state is joy, right? So it's like to connect joy and productivity and self respect, you know, and feeling like integrity is amplified through the act of discipline. Yeah, and then, you know, the thing is I think the internal process of commitment. It's just it's a I don't want to say even just a mindset. It's more if it's like now, unwavering, stable, you know, not like, okay, well, I know I said I wasn't going to eat after 10 o'clock, but there I am having the chocolate chips from the freezer, right? And I'm like, small little self betrayal.
Well, that's not you, Alan. That's the that's the weed.
Part of me, probably a very young part. that was fed honey buns.
From the gas station, like
I
with
don't
the white
know.
icing.
I think my dad got him at the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, so sad. Walmart took those out. But yeah, no. But there's still nothing to do it now. You still got it. Just go. Make a habit of it. I just look. I just worked all day and didn't eat, and I got Whataburger. So you can be Whatawoman or Whataburger.
Just
Take your
bless
pick.
it with love.
Bless it with love.
Ask that your universal light adds nutrition to that burger on all energetic levels possible. Just bless it with your light before you eat it. I'm serious, man. I mean, there's a reason people say grace that's beyond religion. It's just, I'm giving you the spiritual angle. You need to say grace before you eat that crap. I mean, like yogis used to like be famous for going town to town, and like only some of them did it, right? Like, probably a couple of them overestimated their abilities, but they'd take mercury. It was like alchemy on the spot. Put mercury in their body, and it wouldn't hurt them because they could transmute the poison. Some people smoke till they're 90 something years old, probably. I know that happens. I do smoke cigarettes, but I do mitigation. I go to the sauna, I do breath work. 50, are you awake? Are you feeling 100? Sora, I didn't hear you jump in tonight. Beth didn't jump in. What's up? Rico didn't bring me any smoke tonight. Rico, Rico.